Welcome to Discussions with the Writer Fred, right here at Black Video News in San Antonio, Texas. We've been off the air for a while because I had full knee replacement. Of course, the coronavirus has slowed down everything. But as we get closer and closer to November 3rd, I thought it was very important that we reach out to you with special guests and special messages. So let me start out with my special message to all you folks out there. I'm not going to really say that Joe Biden is the best candidate that we can have for president. But let me say this. I don't know about you, but I don't want to vote for anyone that called my homeland an S-hole. I don't know about you, but I don't want to vote for a man who insulted one of the best congressman we had. I don't know about you, but I don't want to vote for a man who talks about places where our people live, struggle, and try to make it as rat holes. I don't know about you. I don't want to vote for a man who calls a beautiful United States senator, who is now the first black to be considered as vice president, a monster. I don't know about you, but that person is not the person that I can go into the voting booth and pull the lever for him. I hope you all feel like I do, but most important, starting October 13th here in Texas, you can vote, get out and vote, and November 3rd, make sure you vote. Thank you. And now I'll get to my special guest today, Miss Gloria Ray. Welcome back to Discussions with the Writer Fred. We all know that all the concentration has been put on the national election between impeached Trump and Joe Biden. But here in San Antonio, we have some very, very, very important local elections. And they are important for a number of reasons. One of the big reasons is because it's how our kids, what they're receiving in the classrooms. And today we're going to be talking about not high school, high school. We're going to talk about community college. And my guest here today to discuss that is a candidate for the District Board of Trustees for District 2 on the Alamo Community College Board. That's Miss Gloria Ray. Let me first welcome you, Miss Ray, to Discussions with the Writer Fred. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you.
Gloria Ray is retired from the Kelly Air Force Base, the Air Logistics Center, in 1994. But she's been very busy since then. While there, however, she founded the Kelly Air Force Base Speeches Bureau. She also founded a mentorship partnership between Sam Houston High School, which is predominantly our black high school here in San Antonio, and Kelly Air Force Base, which is outstanding. She's been on the board of directors of the Carver Community Cultural Center, and she's been a commissioner on the Martin Luther King March Commission. And as everyone knows, we have the most successful march in the country every year on Dr. King's birthday, or near as we can to Dr. King's birthday. She also chaired the district-wide Citizens Advisory Committee for the Alamo Community College District to usher in $1 billion capital improvements across all campuses in the new district headquarters building, which was obviously a very, very important position. So, Ms. Ray, welcome again to Discussions with the Writer Fred, and so let's get right into our discussion.
Okay.
Tell our viewers why Gloria Ray should be elected to represent District 2 on the Board of Trustees for the college.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I've been a tireless volunteer for my community since I retired from Kelly Air Force Base, as Mr. Williams just mentioned that I retired in 1994. And since that retirement, I have worked so hard in my community, not just in District 2, not just on the east side, but for the entire city of San Antonio. I was the first minority female to ever be president of Fiesta San Antonio. If you are from around here, you know all about Fiesta.
Absolutely.
It's the largest celebration in the Southwest of its kind. Mm-hmm. It is the only celebration of its kind in the world. tens of thousands of volunteers make up the base to make Fiesta successful. It's a party with a purpose. And it took me several years to attain the presidency. And I served on every elected position and most of the most important committees for Fiesta. In addition to serving as Fiesta president, I was also elected to be commission chair of the Martin Luther King March. I was March chair for 2 years, and then I ascended to the chairmanship of that overall celebration. We like to call it the greatest march.
Yes.
Not just in the city. In addition to that, I served on the Carver Cultural Community Board, and I've served my church. I have served as a volunteer at every level in the state of Texas. I served at the state level. I have served at the county level, and I have served the 2 largest volunteer operations in the city. It's all about leadership. When I started at Kelly Air Force Base, I'm very happy to say I started as a GS2 clerk typist. And through my ability to work successfully with others, to cooperate and collaborate, I retired as a senior official. I had the largest organizational budget at Kelly Air Force Base, over $1 billion. I had the human resource responsibility for the largest workforce at Kelly Air Force Base. I had the human resource responsibility for the propulsion directorate, a 2,500 person workforce. And I was responsible for all of the policies and procedures. I had a storybook career at Kelly Air Force Base, and I keep on by volunteering in my community. When I was appointed by Governor Rick Perry to serve on the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, we had housing responsibility from the Rio Grande River in the south to the border of Oklahoma in the north, from our border with Louisiana to the east, and all the way out to the Mexican at El Paso. And we made sure that Texans were taken care of with their housing needs. I'm very happy that many apartment complexes and affordable apartment complexes in the city of San Antonio came about under my leadership.
Oh, great.
Serving as the vice chair of that important commission. In addition to that, I served the Alamo Area Council of Governments at the county level, in the Housing Roundtable, and also on the Housing Advisory Committee. I love my I'm a lifelong resident of District 2. My professional career and my volunteer career shows that I have leadership abilities across all segments of my community. In addition to my leadership, I have very strong budgetary and fiduciary responsibility. I've served Kelly Air Force Base with a $1 billion budget. I chaired the Citizens Advisory Committee for the Alamo Community College District for 13 years on every one of their bond programs at every campus in the district to make sure that the capital improvements were equitably distributed across all of the campuses. Over $1 billion I helped us share. And I'm so proud of the brand new headquarters building that was built on that derelict Playland Park land. We looked 100 years into the future to make sure that the needs of the college district would be successfully dealt with now and into the future. If you haven't been to the Playland Park area, I recommend you drive by there. It's a beautiful facility, a beautiful edifice, and I'm very proud of having been chair of all of the citizens for every quadrant of the city to come together collaboratively to build that building.
Fantastic. Well, it looks like you have the experience, but let's get down to some specifics.
Okay. Ask me questions.
Mr. McClendon represented District 2.
He did.
On the board for a very long time.
16 years.
How many years?
16.
16 years. So we did have some black representation on the board
Yes.
during those years. Evidently, the board, when they replaced him after he retired and they replaced him, evidently they didn't see the need to replace him with another black. And so, how do you feel about that? What's your feelings on that?
I was very disappointed about that selection because obviously diversity was not important to the majority of the members of that Board of Trustees. That board, as it is structured right now, it's a 9-member board of trustees. There are 6 Hispanics, 3 Anglos, and not a single African American. Ever since the single member districts came into being in the county of Bexar and the city of San Antonio, District 2 has had an African American representative on that board. I believe we need to have a seat at the table. It's important that we maintain our diversity. And that was the main reason that I chose to run for this position. I was recommended and endorsed by Denver McClendon because I worked with him for 13 of his 16 years as his appointee. And I was elected by my other Citizens Advisory Committee to chair all of those boards. So that proves my leadership, that proves my ability to collaborate and to work cooperatively for the good of the community.
Okay.
And I believe with my background in fiduciary responsibility, budgeting, leadership, I am the best qualified for that position.
So let's dig just a little deeper into this because I find it very interesting. If Mr. McClendon recommended you and that had been a position for blacks for 16 years, why?
It had been a position held by an African American for far more than 16 years.
Oh, okay. Before that.
Since the advent of single member districting,
Okay.
the District 2 position had been elected an African American to serve in that position.
Okay.
Denver served 16 of those years, going back all the way to the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
And it's always African American in that position. We have effectively been kicked off the board.
And so when we come back from our break, let's pursue, if you're willing to, why you think they did that. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with you on Discussions with the Writer Fred.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
I work out every day. COVID won't kill me.
I'm 24. COVID won't kill me.
I have antibodies. COVID won't kill me.
It's been a long week. COVID won't kill me.
I'm 25. COVID won't kill me.
I'm partying outside. COVID won't kill
I
me.
don't need to wear a mask around my friends. COVID won't kill me.
I'm 23. COVID won't kill me.
If I haven't gotten it yet, COVID won't kill me.
I'm young. COVID won't kill me.
Famous last words. Don't let them be yours. Socially distance. Mask up, America.
One, 6, or a dozen trees. No job is too big or too small. Booker's Tree Services is a certified arborist and state licensed company. On the ground or in the air, we are here to take care of all your tree needs, from stump grinding, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree removal, and much more. Call the professionals to help manage your commercial or residential needs. Don't let your trees make you nervous. Call for a free estimate today at Booker Tree Service, 210-657-8085.
Does your life matter? Education, health, and finance can determine your future and explain your past. Pick up the latest edition of Black Life Texas Magazine, a monthly outlook on life with an African American focus. Life is what you make it, so live it in the black.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Nothing to do this week? Don't miss another event. Go to blacksinsanantonio.com for our event calendar. the home of the largest business directory in San Antonio with an African American focus. Sign up today for our weekly e-blast and text message alerts. Help us make this a better community. Connect, empower, grow.
Thank you for staying in tune to Discussions with the Writer Friend with my guest, Miss Gloria Ray. When we left, I was going to pursue this issue of why they bypassed, I'm sure, other African Americans to put someone else on that board when, as you said, there are how many Hispanics right now?
There are 6 Hispanics
and 3 whites?
and 3 Anglos.
3 Anglos, okay. So
That's that's the incumbent that was appointed to Denver seat.
Right.
At the time of the selection, there were 5 Hispanics and 3 Anglos.
Okay.
Voted.
Okay. Who made that decision?
It was of the Board of Trustees. And it really came down almost entirely across lines to put a Hispanic person on that board. I hate to
tell it like it is.
Well, I hate to talk about it as a racist.
Well, we have
politics,
to.
There's politics involved in any board of leadership.
Ms. Ray, we can't, especially we're going to national level, from this race issue. And I refuse to do it. So if you're willing to tell it like it is, please, on Discussions with the Writer Friend, go right ahead.
There were 2 African Americans that interviewed, 3 that applied, 2 that interviewed for the position, 2 very highly qualified African Americans that interviewed for that position. Lifelong member of District 2 of the Alamo College, all of my natural life. Mm-hmm. The other African American that was interviewed for that board is also a lifelong resident of District 2, highly qualified. Personally, I believe that there was some inside deals going on.
Okay.
The gentleman selected for that position and now serves as the District 2 representative is, I believe, a plant in the District 2 community. He has served at the Judson Independent School District and has been plotting to take over that seat ever since he came to the community. Mm-hmm. He most of his time was on the northwest side of town, and I think it was a 10-year attempt to take that seat.
Okay.
I believe, this is my personal opinion, that some of the South Side and West Side politicians use that young man as a plant to gain majority representation on that board. I am concerned about having that Board of Trustees being politicized. Mm-hmm. We must have a seat at the table. We must not be overlooked. So when it came an opportunity for the citizens to make the decision, the citizens of District 2 to decide who shall be their representative, I would have been remiss if I didn't throw my hat in the ring.
Absolutely.
And run for that position.
Absolutely.
Nobody has served it 13 years and moved $1 billion worth of money to maintain the capital improvements across all of those campuses. I was the chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee when we built Northeast College. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have that beautiful campus over there on the northeast side. I live on the northeast side of town, in the middle of District 2. So I've done a lot of work. I worked with 2 chancellors, all of the 5 college presidents, the administration, and I don't think anybody is better qualified to serve in that position than I am.
What kind of response are you getting from the community?
I've gotten surprising, excellent response, not only in personal from across the community, but surprisingly enough, because I've had people tell me that people in District 2 will vote for you, but they won't give you any money to support you. Well, I found out that that's not true. The citizens of District 2 and all across the city, because they're concerned about losing that seat. Losing that seat has long-term implications across that, all across District 2, not only at the college district, but the city and the state. And people came together and pooled their resources so that I could run a solid campaign for that. We should see how.
Well, let's assume you're going to win, and if you do, one of my concerns, and just a point of acknowledgement, I taught in ACD for a while. One of my concerns is, how are you going to, what can you make sure that we have a good distribution of tenured black faculty at all those schools, all 5 of them? I know there's a lot at St. Philip's. SAC has, I don't know what Northwest Vista has, or what Northeast or Lakeview has, or the other campus has. So what are you going to do to assure that they are recruiting, and not just recruiting for show, but hiring qualified black professors to be tenured, not but tenured?
You might have heard me use the term collaboration a lot in my discussion. I'm a firm believer in successful collaboration. You can't get anything done on your own. You have to make sure that other people are willing to work with you and see your point of view to get anything done. As you probably know about the structure of Alamo Community College District, it is the chancellor who makes decisions. It's not the board that makes hiring decisions. It's the chancellor that makes hiring decisions. However, the chancellor is encouraged and supported by the board. And as a member of the Board of Trustees, I intend to look at the tenure structure across all of the campuses, ensure that people like me
are getting hired,
are being recognized. And so the thing that's wonderful about San Antonio, it's a beautifully diverse city.
It is.
It is our diversity that makes this such a strong community. All of us that are involved in service, a part of our job description is to make sure that our diversity is strong and that jobs, as they come available, that nobody is left behind, nobody is lost in the transition. When you come up with a board that overlooks the placement of an African American trustee, because what was said by one of our current board members, well, District 2 is no longer majority African American community. It's a majority Hispanic community. So therefore, I don't see any reason that that District 2 seat ought to be held for an African American. I think that's reprehensible.
Yes, I agree.
Whether District 2 is no longer majority African American or not, it is a district where most of the African American vote is concentrated.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we must get that vote out, and we must stand tall that we have a seat at the table, because if we lose this seat at the table, the next one will be City Council.
Okay, absolutely.
If you lose City Council, the next one is going to be District 120, the state. So we are working hard to get the vote out so that African Americans will have a seat at the table in the future. And continue representation at all of the campuses.
We're down to our last minute, so let me give you this last minute to talk to our viewers and encourage them the way you want to.
I encourage you, it's the most important election of our lifetimes. Past years, the District 2 Alamo College's vote was held in May. As God would have it, COVID hit, and that election was postponed until November. The incumbents on that board of trustees literally had an opportunity and were directed to have the ballot in November. I submit to you, they attempted to steal that election in November, and I'm going to tell you why I believe they chose to steal that election in November, because it'll have the largest representation of voters in the history of the Alamo Community College District. There will be gobs of people going to the polls, and that was not in the best interest of the incumbents that are sitting on that board right today who are up for election.
Okay.
They wanted to move the election. They didn't tell anybody. They didn't inform the community. They pulled a last-minute move in the 11th hour and voted to move that election to some undisclosed time. The city was so alarmed. The Express News had a very cutting, time's up.
Oh, go ahead, finish.
Okay.
Go finish, please.
Had a very cutting editorial and said that it looked like self-dealing. They never said whether they were going to have the election, but they didn't want it on November, because tens of thousands and millions of people will be voting. I promise you, it'll be the largest turnout in the history of Alamo colleges.
Absolutely.
They wanted to move it to a place where there wasn't going to be many people going to the polls.
Right.
People have been elected at Alamo colleges because it's a low turnout vote by 2 votes. This year, the people, large group of people, will have a say as who's going to hold that seat.
Okay.
And I'm very glad that the city threw a fit and made them put that election on the 3rd of November. The governor, the council general at the state, told Alamo Community College District if they didn't have that election in November, they would have severe penalties. The last day to vote to have the election in November was on a Monday. The board met in session via Zoom at noon on Monday to overturn that decision to move that election. And I think it was contrived and it was illegal. And the state said it was illegal.
Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Gloria Ray, for being a guest on Discussions with the Writer Fred. I appreciate you coming out and sharing your view why you should be elected with our viewers. And in closing, to the viewers, please remember to vote. This could be one of the most important elections in all our lifetimes. A lot is at stake. And I tell you, there are people out there hoping, really pushing, scheming for us not to turn out.
Amen.
Let's fool them and let's do what we know we can do, like we did in 2008 for the great Barack Obama. And let's do that in 2020. This is Fred Williams with Discussions with the Writer Fred, telling it our way.